Greetings and salutations, everyone. It's your boy back with a new video. And today I would like to talk about part 2 of an artist spotlight series of a talented masterform artist by the name of Edayan. I've covered Edayan before in one of my previous artist spotlights. So today we're diving into the world of Monster Hunter and celebrating the incredible artwork of Edayan himself from Capcom. Specifically, we'll be exploring his remarkable contributions to the armor and weapons design in the first 3 Monster Hunter games, very lightly touching upon Monster Hunter Illustrations 1 and 2. And if you haven't checked those books out, I would recommend that you do because they're amazing. So as we can see here from the Monster Hunter Illustrations 1, we have Fujioka Kaname, who is the director of the first 4, I believe, major Monster Hunter titles. Then we have Kanbei, and it says here Kanbei is the lead designer who is responsible for the designs of the world, characters, monsters, armor, amongst others. And then we have our boy designer Edayan. Edayan is a designer working in the design studio who mostly looks after the designs of the armor, but also had a hand in creating illustrations for other related products like the card game. I won't be showing any artworks from the card game. I actually could not find them online, but I want to just showcase some of his work on Monster Hunter, specifically from the first Monster Hunter, and showcase a lot of his input. Again, like I said before, he's had a hand in designing most of the prolific armor designs in Monster Hunter. You can see here how he contributes a lot of the monsters in his designs, and he does a good job of incorporating elements from the nature, the theme, and he puts a lot of thought into not only the armor designs, but the weapon designs. Here we have an interview with Fujioka Kanbei and Edayan in regards to it started with the Rathalos. And we have here a question of the interviewer asking, shouts out to Edon by the way, which monster did you create first? And so Kanbei would say, well, that would be the Rathalos and Rathian. Obviously, as a team, we decided to start by creating a flying dragon type monster, something that could fly and would attack the player using claws and teeth. From there, we could take the skeletal structure as a basis to create variations upon variations, with everything from the models to animations and everything else that makes up a monster in Monster Hunter. It takes a lot of time to fully create just one monster. That's why we couldn't let everyone run off in their own directions, creating monsters on a whim. Fujioka comments, but Kanbei concludes with, we did have individual concepts noted down here and there. Horned wyverns, for example, and blind wyverns. We wanted to take this unique traits and form the armor designs around them. Since the monster designs affect so many aspects of the game, we knew it would be important that our first monster would be something special. So right off the bat, Rathalos and Rathian, the staple flagships of Monster Hunter. So the interviewer continues with the question, so the monsters came first. Kanbei and Fujioka comments, but here Edayan mentions, the general appearance of the monster was definitely something we took into consideration, but the biggest influence from the monsters was the color. Some of the unexpected designs included things like beautiful looking armor that was crafted from the parts of a distinctly grotesque looking monster. Kanbei adds, such wonderful design concepts came about by applying the quote-unquote Edayan filter to our monsters. So there were so many occasions where I designed a monster only to have everyone on the team exclaim, ew, gross, lol. I guess I got a little carried away with all the veins and such. But then Edayan goes and draws something like the Gypserios in a way that none of us could have imagined. We all agreed that Edayan's Gypserios had a certain rubbery feel to its hide. And although Edayan insists that it wasn't done intentionally, we liked it well enough that the final Gypserios design incorporated a certain rubbery feel. When working on the Gypserios design, we used images of car tires as references and played around with the different tread marks. So here we have some rough sketches on some cool aesthetical designs from both the monster and from just the theme, like what was mentioned before in terms of color. Color is a huge thing. We can see how that aesthetically embodies the designs that he creates for a lot of these interesting monster concepts. One of my favorite ones on here is the Elatrion, specifically the Gunner set. And we can see here how he can really just showcase those vivid colors and showcase the shape. And another thing that I've noticed upon studying some of these designs and looking at this book and reading some of his comments was the importance of having a silhouette in your designs. And sometimes it's not really about the details, it's more of the form. Here is some of his designs for the classic legendary Rathalos design from Monster Hunter 1 and 2. As we can see, the classic horns that jet out from the shoulders. We have a lot of the embodiment of Rathalos himself. Classic legendary armor design. And personally, my favorite. Now I understand that he changed the armor design or tweaked it a little bit to what we see now in Horizon World to make it more appealing. As that's cool, I actually like these designs just a little better. And though that's cool, there were some pieces that were just a little obscure, like this one, for example. This one is really cool, and it reminded me a lot of World for some reason. I don't know if Wilds will incorporate something like this, but this is an interesting idea. And I'm kind of sad that we don't get to see this. Maybe we'll see this later, which on here is called the Alchemist Academy Auto Tamer Plant Armor. And you can see here how just what is going on here. You had the cobwebs going on the hands. You got some on the feet. And here's one called the Plant Man Archer. But here Edayan comments on these designs. Shouts out to the acorn shoes up there. It's just, yeah. He adds, these were done back when we were still entertaining the idea of having a more fantasy-ish approach to Monster Hunter. Clearly, we had a bit too much freedom to explore random ideas. Kanbei's illustrations of the Auto Tamer, for example, has a lot of interesting notes regarding honeycomb armor and alchemical sciences. I recall reading through this at the time and thinking, when did we implement alchemical sciences? LOL. Here's another one called the Cocoon Man. As funny as these are, and these, I will say, is the same thing for the weapons designs. I'm a fan of corny looking designs sometimes, if it has some kind of purpose. But I mean, I'm just thinking to myself, like, as wild as these are, they're actually really cool. And you can see here on the Cocoon Man just how insane this looks. As obscure as these are terrific. I love these designs so much, actually. From the obscure, we're gonna go right back to the cool designs here. We have here the Barioth male and female, Blade Master and Gunner armor types, and you can clearly see just the representation again of just his incorporation of monster aesthetics. You can see the Barioth horns, the palette choice of colors. It's Edayan. We have Edayan to thank for that. Here are some other ones that I really, and again, just these are pictures, but I encourage you to actually buy the book to really appreciate some of the artworks on this book. Here we have the Legaia Cruz, and I'm probably not saying it correct, but the Legaia Cruz armor, which I found and I discovered in the Monster Hunter Illustrations book 2, that this was in fact one of the hardest armor sets to design, and that's a really interesting tidbit with this one. And as trivial as that sounds, I'm glad that they went through it and came out the other side, because a Legaia Cruz armor is really dope. I really like the feel, I really like the theme of it, and I really hope that we can see Legaia Cruz for Monster Hunter in future titles, so fingers crossed. Here's another familiar armor set that some of you guys from World will remember. I know some of you guys that have played Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate, Monster Hunter 4 Vanilla. This is an interesting one. So what is Edayan's favorite design and why? What is it? Drumroll please. It is the Kezu. And so if you guys know what the Kezu is, I don't need to explain what it is. Again, how can I say this? Art is up to the interpreter. It's Kazoo, and if you know Kazoo, if you understand Kazoo, for some of you veterans out there, I don't really need to explain. He adds here, of all the equipment I've designed, I'd have to say my favorite is the Kazoo armor for females. Concept, nurse and patient, of course. So yeah, I'd love to have a chance to design some weapons to go as a set with the armor, maybe a lance shape like a syringe or a crossbow shape like a crutch, which actually sounds absolutely awesome. All of my other armor designs also have a core theme, so if you ever have some free time on your hands, perhaps you will be able to decipher some of them. What do you mean? They're all obvious? Of course they're obvious. I just want to comment really on the prowess of not only Edayan's line work and his choice of colors, but just his design outlook, because I feel that that's also important as a designer, is to focus on form, really focus on imagery, again with the silhouettes. It's not just about technique, it's more of how do I incorporate putting something that's striking to the player, something that's striking to the viewer, and make them notice it right away with its distinction. And of course, Edayan never goes wrong with his design works, even before Monster Hunter. So I'm glad that his works on Monster Hunter are so prolific. And the sad thing is that we don't really notice that. We don't really recognize his hand in it. All we just recognize is, oh, that's cool, that's cool, that's cool. But we forget sometimes that that's the same dude that drew Rival Schools. That's the same guy. So as we conclude, I just want to express my heartfelt appreciation for Edayan's contributions to Monster Hunter in general. His artistry has literally stood the test of time, and his designs again remain iconic even to this day. So with all that said, what are your favorite designs for Monster Hunter? Because more than likely Edayan designed it. Which one is the most weird? Which one is the most cool? Let me know. It's crazy how all of this started back then. And here we have a comment from him mentioning, thinking back on my journey here, I realized it all started when the producer of Monster Hunter treated me to dinner back in June of 2001. Crazy how that meeting alone set up all of this for him. And I have to say that I'm actually very happy that he has had such a major contribution to the series, because we know the series to be very popular. The significance of having such a good form figure drawer from the Capcom days, from the Bingus days, from the Acumen days, from that era, really says a lot. Just playing through the games myself and just thinking to myself, wow, Edayan actually did that, and actually having more respect for him. So I'm actually really happy that his work continues to live on. And again, I encourage you to get those art books, to really look at those and really appreciate not just Edayan's work, but also Kanbei's work. And maybe I'll do a video of Kanbei, because he actually had a hand in designing some of the armor sets. Anyways, thank you so much for joining me on this journey through Edayan's artistic legacy in Monster Hunter. Just a fraction of it. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more content. It really helps. Your support means the world. Shouts out to my Patreons. I really appreciate you guys. And until next time, happy hunting. Peace.
Knew I could be my own effect. Really fucked me up with choosing old perspectives. Evolved this far enough just to see life at clearance. Wolves howling at the moon, you unlock the secret weapon. Don't you dare come near me, gather strength to continue and trust my intuition. Type of drive shift in the gear when pandemics start interfering.